as he's up there.
Mm,
Because people were
mm.
like, I love you, man. And he's like, no, I love you. But my favorite moment of the show was the announcement of like Sega more or less saying, we're bringing back 5 of our classic franchises, but and it looks like they're going to do it right. So we have this trailer
Mhm.
pulled up right here. Um, they got these people hanging out doing their thing, and we're going to do this without audio. We don't really need it. But about 45 seconds in, the everything breaks down, and they go into this arcade, and they're remaking, I guess, revitalizing,
Mhm.
restarting all these great franchises, starting with Jet Set Radio, which looks amazing. Um, and then they have Streets of Rage, which they've done a 3D Streets of Rage before, and
This
I'm
yeah,
look. Go ahead,
they
Melanie.
just because didn't they just have the, other Streets of Rage, the 2D one?
Yes,
That came out and that was really good, really good.
yes, and that's they're it's thin ice if you're going to do a 3D Streets of Rage coming off of Streets of Rage 4, which was widely acclaimed and thought of really well. So they had a new Streets of Rage. Then they have a new Shinobi, which I think the art style of this is really cool. Kind of a
Yeah.
old school ninja 2D hand drawn. Loving that look of that. Very, very cool. Which, to put it in a game that's been really popular the last few years, looks kind of like The Messenger, which was an indie title that was really popular a couple of years ago. Won some awards and stuff. And then we have Golden Axe, which Blabs, I'm sure you never played Golden Axe in the arcade, right?
No, I've never played like any arcade games besides the
Okay.
ones you make me play.
Didn't they
Mel,
try to drop like a 3D Golden Axe like on the Xbox 360 or something like that, and it kind of didn't meet expectations, if I remember correctly. Um,
right.
yeah.
So there was, I think, as early as the last few months, there was somebody who made a 3D Golden Axe kind of like prototype, and
Mhm.
I think that it was taken down by Sega, and this would be why, because you have this 3D version of Golden Axe coming, and then this is the one I'm actually most excited about, was a new Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
It looks super fun. So they say these 5 games right there, and then and more. That's the thing that I'm really excited about is
Oh.
the and more. So that's where this was the first time I was like, oh, okay, I'm in. I'm in on what's being thrown down here. And they all look very unique in their art
Right.
style, and they all look like they're standalone. And people were confused of whether this was like a bundle or if they're standalone games. These are
Mhm.
standalone games. Standalone games. So I don't know. Your thoughts on that, Melody? Does that
I
excite
think
you at all?
I think that looks great. I'm yeah, I mean, I think it looks fun. I think that they're gonna reach a lot of people or a lot of fans and stuff, but I personally I never got like super into either of those, but I do think that that is the best announcement that we've had. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Streets of Rage, I do really like Streets of Rage, but I like the 2D, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about 3D. I haven't played any like anything like that, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you're dealing with you got to put on some white gloves when dealing with franchises like that, when there's member berries and nostalgia of these classic old school franchises that were, in most of those cases early 90s. In the case of Crazy Taxi, like late 90s, Dreamcast era, early
Mhm.
2000s. But those are old enough to where they're either going to be immensely successful on their own. This initial announcement is built to build nostalgia, but these games
Right.
have to be good enough to where they become
Mhm.
brand new franchises today for today's audience.
Exactly. And
So
but one thing I do like is that I mean these are video games. Like these aren't like we're seeing everything else that's just like, oh, okay, we're going to have this grand epic story and cinematic visuals and the story be the main focus and you're going to watch a bunch of, overly expensive cutscenes that took most of the game's budget. These are video games that are actually video games. So that's always nice to see.
very, very exciting to see. Now, Blabs, you saw this next game and you were really
Yeah.
excited about this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Jurassic Park survival game, which
Yeah.
I don't want to play the music, but it's the classic John Williams theme. And
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it takes place on like the original Jurassic Park from the 1990s.
From what I understood, if I maybe I misheard it, but I believe they said Isla Nublar. So,
What is
which
that?
is the original one, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think it
Okay.
is. But yeah, she based this main character. She gets left behind. Everyone like evacuated except for her apparently. So she's like, "Help! I'm stranded. I'm stranded." And she's basically running away from dinosaurs. And sure, you could say there's some member berries, right? Because it's in. This kind of looks like what we've seen in the 1990s Jurassic Park, right? It's
I
very
mean,
similar.
these scenes harken directly back to the movie.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
most
So,
iconic scenes of the movie.
So, it's all about the member berries. But for some reason, people are saying, oh, this looks woke. And I'll be honest, I don't see anything that she's doing is woke or anything. She's literally trying to survive. That is it.
I mean, I think the only thing that people could say about it is that, she's
The
a,
member
I guess,
berries.
and she's an Indian girl, maybe? Is
Oh.
that what it is, She's an Indian
mean,
girl.
She does have the non-binary glasses on, so stay tuned. Let's just make sure. Hold before using pronouns.
I like the idea of this thing's here, and she's like screams, "Ah, but I'm non-binary."
Respect my pronouns.
That's right.
I mean, if she's just Indian, I don't actually give a shit about that, right? If she's
Right.
woke and she's like, I'm they, them, like, for fuck's sakes. But I'll be honest, it doesn't look like anything. Like, this looks like just like Bryce Dallas Howard did in Jurassic World, the first one. So, I don't know. For me, sure, if you want to say, the member berries, okay. But, I mean, it didn't even announce the date yet, right? It's just like it's just like, hey, we have this game coming out, yeah. And I'm pumped for it because I love Jurassic World Evolution. I'm about to go and play Evolution 2 soon. I'm pumped. I love it.
I think that, like, once again, I don't care what race, color, character, gender, whatever you make your lead character. Just make the story interesting, and don't
Exactly.
make that their identity, their entire story.
Right.
And I don't think in a situation where you're getting chased down by dinosaurs, you're going to worry about a whole lot of that. That's just my thoughts on that,
Right.
Especially if this is taking place in the 1990s,
That'd be so cool. We'll see. I hope it's great. I want some really cool game to escape to. That'd be so awesome. Why not with dinosaurs, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I love dinosaurs. That's always fun. I just really would want to see some gameplay because, right now only seeing just a cinematic, it's just hard for me to really get an idea.
Right. Well, so let's get to the actual awards here. The game of the year was Baldur's Gate 3, which I think most people agreed with.
I respect that. I mean, I didn't get into Baldur's Gate 3 or anything like that, and I have no intention of playing it, but just everything I've seen from it, the fans are really happy. It looks like a very polished game. So, I mean, I think given everything that was nominated, it made sense.
Alan Wake 2 also had a very big night, winning several awards, which, people weren't super happy with that given where that was. But Baldur's Gate 3, then Hideo Kojima, one of the real kind of crazy points of the night, you knew Hideo Kojima was going to make an appearance because Jeff Keighley can't have a show without Hideo Kojima. And they announced his new game experience called OD, which my first thought was like Odie from Garfield.
Odie, I love Odie.
I thought when you say
so
OD, I think
cute.
overdose. I'm like, huh?
Well, that may be there's not really a whole lot to what they announced. They just showed some crazy faces, and then they brought out Jordan Peele, and talking about like a circle jerk. That's pretty much what it was. It was like Jordan Peele going like, Hideo Kojima's a genius. Hideo Kojima's going, oh, Jordan Peele's a genius in Japanese, and that's pretty much. And then Jeff Keighley the entire time just slowly unzipping their pants and waiting to go to town.
I think Kojima is overrated. I think that his Death Stranding game, it's just quite literally a walking simulator. It's like, yeah, okay. The father of Metal Gear Solid, I get it for those who are huge like Metal Gear Solid fans and stuff. Like last week I got in some debates with people about I'm more of a Splinter Cell girl, but just saying, uh, he's definitely got vision. He's definitely good at coming up with very dynamic, weird stories and all that kind of stuff, which I can appreciate. But at the same time, like I said, last game being a walking simulator, and I don't know. I'm starting to think he's definitely overrated.
Well, something to keep in mind is I don't think that he's on the same level as like a Shigeru Miyamoto, right? Somebody
Right.
who has shown that you have the creative energy to create games and experiences outside of one certain genre, right? You
Right.
look at all the games that Miyamoto has been attached to, obviously Mario, Zelda, Samus, Metroid, Pikmin. These are all wildly different games, wildly different genres in the gaming space, all with their own success. And I think that Hideo Kojima really, really knew the Metal Gear lore franchise. I mean, it's his, right? So he was a masterclass in that.
Mm-hmm.
And his other games, it was a not Death Stranding. Is it Death Stranding? Is that what it was?
Death Stranding,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Or the walking, the walking simulator with the
Mm-hmm.
babies. Like that was, you either loved it or you hated it. And Flash said this last night, and I agree. He should just make a movie. Like,
That's how I feel. That's based. I agree with that because it's just like I think when it comes to esteemed like video game geniuses, then they need to be there needs to be a big focus on the actual video game element of it, not just, oh, here's this grand story and the crazy visuals and all that kind of stuff, because there is a big difference with being an artist creating a video game versus just a good story. And I think we're losing a lot of that in the industry, and I think that people like him are actually partially responsible for why video games are in the state that they're in right now, and they're not focusing on being actual video games. They're just putting too much attention on stories and cinematics.
in addition to that announcement, Matthew McConaughey visited the stage, and he talked about a game called Exodus, which was kind of like Interstellar, the movie that he was in. But he came out and he was like, I know everybody's expecting me to say, all right, all right, all right. He's like, but I'm not going to say that. Instead, I'm going to say beep, 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 like a Pong from the 70s, and it's
Yeah.
like look around you, dude. Come on. And it went over
And
like a
no
wet
one got
fart.
offended?
No, 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 it wasn't beep bop boop. It was
Yeah,
not
but it was still
Gina
it was
Carano.
worse. It was beep, beep, beep. That's far worse.
That maybe we should have marked off pronouns with him coming in with that. The final trailer, the final world exclusive. Oh, yes, pew pew pew. That's what it was. Solar. Thank you. But the final world exclusive of the night was, I think, a big dud. Usually, you want to have this big hurrah at the end, and I just have a gut feeling that Keeley was hoping for something better than
Mhm.
Monster Hunter Wilds, which is just,
Right.
it's like it looked like a Monster Hunter game. And I'm sure he had
Mhm.
something lined up, and then they just scooted Monster Hunter to finish it up.
Right.
So outside of that, from a gaming perspective, there was a lot of people who were upset at the general thought of how long the Game Awards gave the award winners the opportunity to speak, which this was at the very, very tail end. This was, I guess, trending over on Twitter. This is 65,000 likes. This is a video over here after Baldur's Gate had won the game of the year, and they're in the process of dedicating the award to a member who had recently died. And
Oh.
one of the things about this is they only gave people like 30 seconds to speak, because last year one guy spoke for like 7.5 minutes or like 8 minutes. And so they're trying to play everybody off pretty quick. But watch the context of this. I saw this morning. Oh, wrong one. Saw this morning and was kind of crazy. So here he is right here. This guy's speaking about his friends, and they pan over to the countdown clock.
Spent their hearts and souls for 6 years on this game, and sometimes very difficult circumstances. Focus game.
Why?
Okay. So well, hold on. So at this point, he's talking about, hey, we had a bunch of great people working on this team, and there's 8 seconds left. Okay, so keep this in mind. So keep it up here. 8 seconds left.
Along the way, we lost quite a few people also, so we want to dedicate this to all people we lost, and especially to Jim, our lead cinematic artist, who passed away in the last month.
Wrap it up. We know Jim's gone. It's time to move on.
That's a bit insensitive.
Get over it. Move on. Old news.
That's awful. Like, I get they need to keep it going and keep it moving, but like, there needs to be some leniency, especially if they're doing something like that. That's just so disrespectful.
Well, I just think what's odd about the whole 30 seconds, just 30 seconds, is that, I mean, this is the Game Awards, and the actual Game Award element of it is not really the focus.
Yeah.
We had a super chat. I want to make sure I saw this one. I'm going to read all your super chats in a minute. But St. G says all acceptance speeches were 11 minutes in total.
Wow.
11 total minutes of the 3.5 hours was acceptance speeches.
Wow.
And then we had amazing moments like this, which got way too much time. But this was, I use the word hyped loosely, as Jeff Keighley announced that Gonzo from the Muppets would be at the Game Awards.
What?
And this was this interaction. And tell me how great a comedy this was.
I do love Gonzo, though. Gonzo is probably my fave Muppet, so I'll give him that.
Everybody loves Gonzo, right? I don't know anybody who doesn't love Gonzo. But does he need to be appearing at the Game Awards?
I would say no.
Here is that interaction with Jeff Keighley, and tell me this wasn't just the most, like, you can't watch this and not literally cringe. This is crazy.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for coming. Looks like you're kind of wearing what I'm wearing.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror, isn't it?
That's
Well,
funny.
I really don't think.
So Gonzo, what have you been playing? Seriously, what have you been playing?
So they do the mirror thing.
That's cute. I'm sorry. That's funny. I like that.
Mad at it. I'm not totally mad at it. I do think that it's very scripted. It's very not totally gamer-esque, but it is giving a little nostalgia, and it is cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Right? Like, it's funny.
It's
like
cute.
it.
I like it.
It's probably the best thing that happened so far.
I'll say this. I think this is the difference of maybe a dude watching it versus a girl watching it.
They should have kept this at 30 seconds. Like, I don't know how long this was. I was asleep during this, but if this was just 30 seconds, then it's like, okay, that's cute.
This is
especially if there's some sort of gamer thing incorporated. I mean, make sure Gonzo's actually in gamer mode.
Malik says, how often do you watch the Game Awards? Correct. The Muppets are always on the show. I watch the Game Awards once a year, just like you, Malik. Every
they
year.
usually don't have Gonzo, right? Like, they have Muppets, but is this Gonzo's first appearance? I can't remember.
Well,
Gonzo, that's a big Muppet to be getting. I mean, honor.
They forked out that money for Gonzo to show up, the custom outfit and everything. The problem is this went on for 45 minutes.
Wait, Gonzo went in 45 minutes?
Yeah, no, I'm totally kidding.
Was Gonzo announcing all the awards?
No. No, it didn't go on for 45 minutes. I'm just kidding. But it was interesting. So now I will say this. There were other worse moments, like this guy. I think his name's Anthony Mackie. I believe is his name.
What do you mean? Do you think his name's Anthony Mackie?
Is this Anthony Mackie?
It is Anthony Mackie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. All right. So he went on stage, and I think he was high. I really do.
Probably. Yeah.
So he's on stage at this point, and I think he has this I think he thinks he has the crowd in the palm of his hand as he's up there. Because people are like, I love you, man. He's like, no, I love you. And they're like, yeah, dude. And he's like, yeah, you shut up. He's like, shut up. And he's up there. And at first it's kind of like, all right. And then it kind of devolves into this.
Like me, I love you more. I love you.
Oh
Okay.
my.
What is wrong with y'all?
So at this point, it's still like, all right, okay, you know, like this is the first time you see it. It's okay, and then
Okay, stop it. You okay? Love you too. I see you. I see you. Shut up. Okay, today the best games are like living universes.
and then he goes into his speech and talks about
Gonzo
it.
was
and
way better than that. Gonzo did it so much better.
Gonzo was way more scripted than that. It allowed for less leeway,
I think he was definitely on drugs.
right? It did feel
Something.
like that, didn't it?
Maybe he
Felt
was
like
drunk.
that.
He's like, "Oh, I'm drunk, man." Like, okay, got it the first time.
Now, a lot of people were asking heading into this. There was a lot of rumors going into this about the Bill Clinton kid. This is what happened last year.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Matan. You know, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody.
And everyone's just kind of like,
Huh?
what just happened? You know, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe him, but either way, he's a young kid, and he tweeted out, "See you tomorrow, Jeff." So a lot of people were like, "All right, you know, things
He's
are about to
gotta
go
come back.
crazy." And then 15 hours, about 15 hours ago, right before the show started, he followed up with this tweet showing that he was at the Game Awards here, which really excited a lot of people. He's there in the crowd, and he actually gave his position away, which was probably a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Horrible idea, because I know, I think he was arrested or something. And
Oh my.
then his next tweet, just a little bit later, was he got a trespass notice. And
A lifetime notice.
yeah, he got a lifetime ban from going to the Peacock Theater because of it. So I think his biggest mistake was letting everybody know that he was there. They announced the creator of the year, and it went to a VTuber, and that was I've never heard of the VTuber, and I said, my reaction was like, what is even happening? And the VTuber, it was a pre-recorded statement, and they're like, I'm so happy it's my team. And I'll tell you what, man, people were like, what? How dare you say anything about this VTuber? And it's like, you don't even know if that's actually a girl. Like, you don't you don't know anything about this. Like, you are championing an avatar that may be a female, that you think is a female, and that's the thing about the whole VTuber thing, which I just don't get. It goes back to these parasocial relationships that people have with these avatars, and it's crazy. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild.
Maybe as pointed out, could be AI. Maybe next year AI will win the creator of the year.
For real.
So it's crazy. So overall thoughts on the Game Awards, way too long. I think that it could be summed up in one Twitter thread. I think they need to give the opportunity for people to speak a little bit longer. And I think that they would probably do pretty well to just post them as individual videos on like a channel or on Twitter. I mean, it's not necessary, just like E3. An award show is not necessary. But it's going to continue because it's one of those things that the video game industry loves and desires. But what do you think about this? Leave us a comment down below. We read every single one of them. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe button because you have found your home for common sense in the gaming and entertainment worlds.